unmuted right now, my friend. You're ready to go.
Remembered, right?
Yes, I remembered this time. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. I see you replaced me with the women.
Well, they replaced all of us.
Yeah.
And they did a hell of a job.
I wanted to come too, but I couldn't.
It was fun. It was fun seeing them do it. Like always, they do really well. I mean, this isn't easy to do. This takes practice and a lot of repetition to get into this.
If you can do it, anybody can, I guess.
Maybe, but I like to say I'm getting better at this.
Sure, why not?
So as we start, I will say I'd like to say thank you to the girls for coming in and doing the second edition or episode of Ladies Night,
because I wasn't coming,
which debuted right now. I think I just posted it right now, so it's up and running. It'll be a week old by the time this one comes out, but nevertheless, we have another guest today, a friend of mine. Been playing basketball with him, against him, all over the city. He was a referee. Sam, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Yeah. Playing against each other, 20 years now, maybe?
Yeah, sounds about right. We're getting up there.
Yeah. Well, I stopped playing a long time ago, but...
And yet you can still probably beat me right now, which is weird. That's how good you were, man.
I was pretty good.
You were pretty good.
I feel salty because I remember him from Export, and he has no idea who the fuck I am.
But no one knows who the fuck you are.
I know exactly who you are.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you was one of the guys who used to go to Export, right?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. You're one of the guys who used to go to Export.
I'm sorry.
No, he's good. No. John's one of those guys, like, you probably see him at the gym because he goes there so often.
Okay.
But like he would never approach someone and talk to him. Like if you know who he is, then you'll run into be like, hey, what's up? But like with Destiny, for example, right? Destiny used to work at the gym, and then she said hi to you when you walked in. Now, if she wasn't on the episode, would you have said hi to her?
No, I don't know.
Exactly.
No,
that's my point. It's not like me. I'm one of those, like, when you play basketball, you kind of like are forced to meet people.
Yeah.
It's like you always meet somebody because you're playing with them or whatever.
Yeah, playing, arguing, something.
Yeah, of course. There's always, you make friendships that way.
Absolutely.
I probably one of my best friends, I've gotten in arguments with. That's probably how I met him, probably fighting and playing basketball.
Most of my friends I disliked at one point.
Yeah, it's how it works.
Which Export?
Brickyard.
Also, you knew me when I was in my 20s now.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you caught the good Sam.
I'm talking about like 2000, early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Like my college and post-college years. Yeah. Me and the white boy, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, with Rob. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember Rob.
Yeah. High jumping white boy.
So tell us, you've always been, really good at basketball. So how'd you start? Like what made you what attracted you to basketball and all that kind of stuff?
Okay. So 2 really good stories when it comes to that. At first I thought I was going to play football my whole life, right? My whole miniature, small life, right? So I'm 7 years old, right? And I make my first basketball team. This is before participation award era. You had to try out and make a basketball team.
Before the bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. Before kids became whatever they are today.
Right.
Whatever. I was actually officiating a game yesterday, and the rule was once the team gets up 20, they put the score 0-0 and just finish the game.
What the fuck is that?
And none of the kids liked it.
No, I mean, you play to win. I mean, you don't play for no tie or anything of that nature.
The losing kids felt disrespected. The winning kids felt like, this is bullshit. We want to know how much we're going to win by.
Right.
But they call off the press. And now, mind you, these kids are the same exact age. If your kid is so much better than the other kid in the 6th grade, your kid shouldn't be fucking playing sports.
There you go.
I mean, there's tons of other shit that we couldn't do. Like, right, like I couldn't fucking get an A in science. You can. The fuck? Are we going to make science even?
No, of course not.
Right? Do we get a mandatory C no matter what and shit?
Well, you know what? Don't they do that now with like little kids in grade school? Like I think like my sister teaches first grade. No, wait, hold on. I think there's a thing you can't fail them. You can't fail kids after like of a certain grade. So like I think like pre-K, like kindergarten to like a certain grade, like I think my sister can't technically fail anybody. She teaches first grade.
This Montessori shit, they get to tell the teacher what they feel like working on that day.
Right.
If they don't feel like math, then no math.
Right. It's weird, man. Like I think as a competitor, right, which I still like to say I'm a competitor in a lot of things that I do.
Yeah.
there's nothing like that drive. But if you take that drive away from me and just make it insignificant, then what's the point?
Just a fucking activity.
Right. It's I mean,
might as well be throwing darts.
Right. I mean, even in that, there's people that are competitive. But if you take that competitive nature away from it, like weightlifting, for example, John, I know you're a weightlifter, right? But you don't compete or anything. But
No.
I'm assuming. I mean, I'm not assuming. I know you. Like, I'm pretty sure if you saw someone benching more than you, that would drive you to bench more.
Or even, how many reps you got last time.
Or to beat your own score or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a competitive to it, or you just don't do the shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know. Go continue. I'm sorry.
So I'm 7 years old. I make my first basketball team, right? And the age was 8 to 11, but I'm 7, right? I made this team, played the whole season without barely anyone other than my coach knowing that I couldn't even make the ball reach the rim. Right, all hustle, all stealing the ball, passing the ball to somebody else. People thought I was the most unselfish kid in the world because I would steal the ball and wait for somebody else, give it to them so they could take the layup. They're like, look at this fucking kid, man. He's got the right idea. Right. Really just didn't want to fucking embarrass myself. Right. So anyway, there's that. We come in, I think, second place, the closest you can come in to losing and still get a trophy. Like, you got to make it to the championship at least.
Right.
Right. Come in second place to get a trophy. The next year I play either first or second, we get a trophy. So on and so forth till I'm like 11. Now I'm 11 and I'm playing an 11 through 13-year-old. My team wins the championship. We get a trophy for that. We get a trophy for winning the division. We get a trophy for making the players that made the All-Star team. And then my team gave me like this special recognition trophy, like team MVP, right? So at 11 years old, I got this thing that my mom put in my room for me, like a mantle. I'm 11 years old and I got like 8 basketball trophies, right? But in the middle of the mantle is my rugged ass football that I use every day because that's what's important to me. And out of nowhere one day, my mother says, why do you have that, with your basketball stuff? And I say, well, 'cause I'm a football player. And like the biggest critic in the world, she says, you don't got no football trophies, right? So I'm like, stop, and my young brain is trying to think, and I'm like, fucking lady just tell me I suck at football. So with that on my brain, another thing happens shortly after, maybe a couple weeks after. I'm at the park, and one of the older guys who, to this day, I can't tell if older guys were really good or was I really that small and didn't know no better, But I remember this guy thinking he was good because he would wear his high school stuff all the time. He went to like Sin High School and he always had like his practice gear on when he.
I think if we wore our stuff from our high school, I think we'd be made fun of. We wore Calvin Park.
Yeah,
I think I still have my Calvin Park shirt.
Well, he was like a senior. He was still.
I think if I try to fit it right now, I think I'd be a little. Never mind.
We should. I got my old stuff. We should do a podcast.
Just have a body.
So I see him doing this thing where he's like working on a similar shot, similar move, X amount of times in a row. To me, it's the most boringest shit I ever seen, right? I had no method to my madness when I shot around at 11. I caught the ball, threw it at the rim, ran over there, threw it at the rim. But this guy is going like dribble, dribble, cross, jump shot, dribble, dribble, cross, jump shot, switch to the left, dribble, dribble, cross, jump shot. And I ask him, I'm like, why you keep doing the same thing, bro? Like, aren't you bored? He says like the coolest shit that I ever heard in my life at the time, which is just regular stuff now. He's like, oh, shorty, I do that like 30 times. So when I do it once, it goes in. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Makes sense. Yeah, and I'm like, whatever. And I wait for him to leave. As soon as he fucking leaves, I'm dribble, dribble, cross, jump shot, dribble, dribble, cross, jump shot. And I start to miss so many. Now that I'm doing it on purpose, I notice how many I miss. And it was at that moment I knew I sucked, even though I'm better than the average 11-year-old. I was like, I was like the smartest retard at that moment. Like, like I'm just better than these guys, but they fucking suck too. Right? So it was at that moment at 11 years old, I became obsessed with, I never liked to play basketball. From that moment on, I liked to be the best player on the court. That's what I like to do, which is why at 31, I stopped playing basketball because I'm 40 now. At 31, in the last 8 years, I haven't played basketball twice in the same month. You know what I'm saying? I'll get out there periodically. I think at like 31, 32, I was still going to Logan Square in the morning and getting a run in maybe once a week. But now that I can't guard the people that I used to guard, now that I can't score at will, And now that I can manipulate the way the game comes out, at least to either winning or close to winning, it is no longer fun at all.
Okay.
At all. Right. And that's the competition to me. I'd rather go bowling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And as a basketball trainer now, I train professionals and college athletes and really good high school players. I touch a basketball every day of my life. But I'll go 2 weeks without even standing next to the rim and shooting it in once. You know what I mean? But I never played basketball to play. I legitly played to win. Period. Like there was nothing else. Like, and I mean, I could accept losing. I could accept getting beat. But I mean, like you knew me back at Export. You probably seen me argue with numerous amount of people because you know, the fuck are you doing out here, man? Like I don't care if you're good or not, but I care if you're bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of thing. But yeah, that was like my what do you call it? My double-edged sword when it came to basketball, right? And then the same thing went when I started officiating, right? Like at first I couldn't get over the fact of arguing with people all the time, back and forth. Like, you know, that's a travel. How the fuck that's a travel? Because it's a fucking travel, nigga. You know, like I do.
Right.
You know, and now just like that, I've slowed it down. I let things come to me. I call the game the way it is. Now as a trainer, I don't care what you're paying. If your kid sucks, I won't train your kid. You know what I mean? Like no, I mean we have
yeah.
But I mean that makes sense. I mean, again, you have to make
well, because of what I'm doing is so some people don't understand the difference between coaching, teaching, and training. I'm not here to teach you, right? I'm here to train you. Training means you take like an Olympic athlete. Typically, that person doesn't need to learn anything.
Yeah.
They just need to be sharpened. You take a boxer. Most boxers are trained by what, like their grandfathers or some shit like that, or some old guy. Right. Because really, all you need is the knowledge and the experience to guide you. You already know how to knock somebody out.
Sure.
Right? So with a pro basketball player, when I'm training a pro, you already know how to play the game. We're just trying to figure out how to make more money, how to get a better contract. You know, if you're a college player and you're the sixth man, we're just trying to figure out how to crack that starting lineup. Right. You know, if you need to learn something at this point, then I'm not your guy.
What are you doing? I mean, it's like one of those, like, I've always said, like, with athletes, like these younger kids that I see playing who are amazingly athletic, right? I've seen a lot of people that are amazingly athletic and are really good. And like, they're already at the age of like, you know, 18, 20 and all this. And I'm not going to say that they won't make it anywhere, but like at that point, like, I want to say it's like, you just don't, either you don't want to learn or you don't have the capacity to learn. You might not have been taught how to learn. Right. Because it's like, I feel like the mistakes that, and again, I'm by no means am I an amazing basketball player at all. I'm not. I mean, I was an athlete at best, and that was about all I had. But I understand the game in a sense. Like I know when someone is elite level wise. Like you can feel it, right? Like when I played against you, I knew you and I weren't on the same level. Like you had difference. Like it's like with this one and him challenging people that train and fighting and thinking he can beat them up. I'm like, look,
you bring that up.
And this is a perfect example. No, this is a perfect example because there's a difference between someone who has some type of a gift or something, but then there's a difference between someone who has a gift and trains. Yeah. There's a difference. Training is super important, and training changes everything. Like you trained Brandon for a little while. Little Hispanic Brandon, shooter. The kid that's at St. Pat's. Yes. Good kid. Good family. You can see he's got training. Yes, by the way he moves. The way he moves. Everything is like pre-planned. Like he's done this 100 times. Yeah. You know, right. Everything is like training. You get what I'm saying? Can I beat him? Maybe not now anymore, but 5 years ago, I could probably still beat him because I'm taller than him, whatever.
St. Pat's, he's in high school?
Yeah, he's in high school.
Yeah, he's like 17.
He's good, bro.
Hey, this little kid, this guy gave it up at 31.
Listen,
it might be time.
Yeah. Listen, that little kid is, he's not a little kid, he's a teenager. He's good.
He's a little kid, he's in high school.
He's 5'7".
He's got a lot of tools.
He's 5'7" too?
Hey, he'll bust your ass right now.
No, he's got a lot of tools.
He's got a lot of tools, bro. He's got a lot of tools.
So Brandon is like the he's basically the lowest level of player that I'll train, and that's not a knock on him. I'm just saying, like with Brandon, it's not. I'm not 100% sure what
Get a
he's
little
gonna.
closer to the mic for me.
I'm not 100% sure what he's gonna do next with basketball, like I am with some of my other.
I think his
players.
biggest problem is that he's got a small. He's not gonna blow up and be over 6 feet.
Yeah, and
Like if he was my height, I would say he has a lot of potential.
well, that's everybody though. That's a lot of people that touch a basketball.
That's true.
You know, I was 5 inches away from being a millionaire. You know what I mean?
That's true. But that's something you can't really control. And then I mean, I don't know. I mean, you were a pretty good athlete.
Yeah.
But I think when we're shorter, I don't say we, but like when you guys are shorter, I think you have to be like a super athlete. Like I think that's what kind of hinders people. Like another one that I think is really good is Desmond, right? Dez is really good. He's athletic, but like
Desmond.
Price.
He's one of mine.
He's
too.
one of your guys.
Yeah.
He's really, really fucking good, right?
Yeah,
I think
he's at Joliet.
he's really, really, really good. But I mean, I've always felt like if he would have been 3 inches taller or 4 inches taller, he would have been a monster.
Well, see, you're describing the double-edged sword, if you will. Taller guys don't work as hard as the smaller guys, and smaller guys aren't blessed with the height. You know what I mean?
Sure.
When you have certain things, like Desmond is a freakish athlete.
Yes.
Right? So if things are going wrong, he can dribble, drive, go past you,
Yes.
blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And then if you ask somebody, hey, what do you think about Desmond's game? They'll never mention his IQ.
No, I think he's got great IQ now.
Well,
I think it's improved. I think it's improved drastically because I remember playing with him when he was younger.
So
right?
so he's just like Brandon in the sense of their talent almost works against them, meaning they've continuously been the best player in every circle they've been in, but there's been nothing extraordinary about any of the circles they've been in. So they're like a fighter that's never been hit.
Yeah.
Good point.
You know,
It's like a boxer who's being protected. Like they don't put him up against elite. They just have him fight people they know he's supposed to be.
And it's not a diss because you beat the people in front of you.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So with Desmond, he had a good high school career. I believe his COVID year was a junior college in New York, and now his this year is Joliet Junior College, which is good competition, but they lose by 60 to a typical D1. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
There's levels to this shit.
yeah, and not to say that Desmond doesn't have the potential making of a Division I player, but he would have to adapt to doing well not in 23 shots, but in 4 shots.
Correct.
And can he? I don't know. You don't know. You have to find out. In my career, I've been the best player on teams. My pro career, I've been the best player on teams, and I've also been garbage time guy. You know, down in Mexico, I was the best player. Shot the ball all I wanted, right? I played 1 season in what they call the G League now. Used to be the developmental league. Actually, half a season because I was hurt most of the season. And I warmed up knowing that I might not get in the game, right? But if you did put me in the game, I was going to give you the best possible 2 minutes of my life, right? Some guys all the way on the NBA level don't have that, and that's why you end up not seeing them again. One of my best friends and old clients, Sharon Collins, played for Kansas and played for the Charlotte Bobcats. It's a mental thing that some guys will struggle with, and he struggled with it. Great human being, great athlete, great basketball player, one of the best shooters I've ever seen in my life. If you talk about high school careers in Chicago, most people will start naming other names over them because they know them better and they went farther, right? But if we're talking about just high school achievements, in my opinion, Sharon Collins is top 10.
Right.
He's an All-American. There's 500,000 high school basketball players. The All-Americans are the top 24.
Shit.
What the fuck?
Right.
Right? But with him, again, All-American, city champion, winningest player in Kansas history basketball. He's won more games in his 4 years at Kansas than any other player to ever play at Kansas. And fucking Wilt Chamberlain, Paul Pierce, all these motherfuckers went to Kansas, right? So with that being said, you then go undrafted. You're playing for a team where the coach looks at you and says, "What's your name again?" You know?
Right.
And you're expected to mentally be okay with that.
Yeah.
Right? And it happens all the time. O.J. Mayo won 5 state championships in high school.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And what happened to him?
Yeah, you go to school for 4 years, he had 5 state championships. The fuck? Like he won one in 8th grade.
I think his biggest downfall was the whole Michael Jordan thing.
Yeah.
Like him saying something to Mike and then Mike whooping his ass in a fucking in a camp and the whole 9 yards or whatever.
That he's mentally weak.
I think he was like a flash in the pan kind of player. Like I don't think he took the
Maybe flashing
because he was good for what, a couple years, a couple seasons. He was a big known player.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Or a big prospect.
I'm gonna tell you something. In my experience with athletes, anytime something isn't going right or not going the way you thought it should go, it's mental weakness.
Right here.
Why?
Right here. Right here.
Explain yourself. I don't know what you're talking about.
I played very little. But
what, basketball?
If my first shot went in, then I'm good. Second one, third one, I'm happy.
I think most people are like that. If the first shot
didn't go in, I'd get all nervous for the second one and start passing the rest of the game. That's just how I was. I don't know why, but
I think a lot of people are like that. I'm like that too. I mean,
but if you want to be at a certain level, you got to have that. I don't give a shit.
Well, you got to have the exact opposite. If I felt like if I missed 2 in a row, if they give me the ball again, you're in a lot of fucking trouble because there's no way I'm missing the third one.
Well, I didn't have that in
but
me.
that's confidence. That's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
That's a confidence
and it comes from working on your game. And
absolutely, because you know what you've put in.
If you know you've shot 600 shots yesterday and the day before in preparation for this. I used to get so there's a funny story, right? A good person to have on this podcast since you typically have like actors and things of that nature. We have do you know Diego?
Oh yeah. I went to high school with him.
Yeah, Calvin Park, right? Mm-hmm. So Diego's into writing now.
Yes,
loves to write.
We touched base on that. Yes, we did.
So and he loves all the comic book and everything stuff, and he's a movie guy, right? So I'm playing this game with Diego, Eddie, a couple of other friends of ours. No need, we don't know who you don't know who they are, so no need to say the names. Frankie's on our team. You know Frankie.
With Frankie, but from my team, Frankie.
Ain't Enrique.
Oh God, I haven't seen that man.
Well, this was young Frankie.
He had so much game.
He did. So Frankie, to get off topic a little bit, when I was 19, Frankie was like 15, and he lived literally a block away from me. And I used to go ask his mom if he can go play basketball with us.
Really?
Yeah, because he was a shorty and he could play, and you gravitate towards that.
Look, Frank was the one guy. Like I look back now, right? And obviously I was younger. He was a little older than me, and
Frankie's older than you?
He's like a couple years older than me. He was one of those dudes that like were so hard to fucking guard. Like I was happy he was always on my team.
Yeah,
because he's one of those guys that there's a lot of one-dimensional players that I run into. Like they're either really good at going to the basket or they're straight shooters and they can't go to the basket. Like Frankie was one of those dudes that could do both. Okay. Like if Frankie loved to go to the basket. He had that little hesitation thing, go to the left, and he's going in strong, throwing the body in there, finishing at one. If you stop that and you play for that, guess what? Here's 3. Yes. Here's 3. You want to come out here? Layup and 1, 3 more. You know what I'm saying? Like Frankie was one of those dudes. Like Frankie had so much game, and I think playing with him kind of helped me as I got older, because like I was really afraid of competition. Yeah. When I was, because I was real skinny and whatever, and I was just an athlete. Playing with them, like, man, it made me realize, you know what? You gotta, even if you're not at their level, you gotta fake that you're at their level. Yeah. You can't let them see this type of weakness or anything like that. And then you start to learn how to love competition. And that's kind of what helped me overall, but.
Well, for you, you're a late bloomer because, no disrespect to your high school.
Absolutely. Disrespect me all you want, buddy.
No, not you. Your high school, there's nobody to sharpen yourself against at Calvin Park.
No, of course not.
You know what I mean? Like,
especially when I'm playing a center when I'm not. My game's never been a center game.
When I was 15 years old, I'm fucking playing against Will Bynum, Tony Allen.
Oh, different. That's a whole different caliber.
I'm getting my ass beat by the right people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's almost like you fight your big brother every day, and then somebody your age wants to fight you. Like I'm 14 and I fight this 18-year-old every day. I'm not worried about you. So like that was my attitude anytime I played. Okay. Like you're you. You can't beat me.
Right.
Even if you did beat me, you didn't beat me because you won. I clearly did something wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you stole,
gotta be a reason.
Yeah. No. If you stole,
I get what you're saying.
If you stole the ball from me, in my brain, I started thinking, well, that's completely my fault. I showed the ball, and I fell asleep for a second or something of that nature. But it wasn't because you can play good defense, at least in my brain.
Yeah.
Right?
It was my mistake versus you did
completely
something
my
good.
mistake.
Right, got it.
If I miss 2 or 3 shots, I got to figure out what's wrong with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a big difference. That's a big confidence thing. So like I tell my players that I train, the more you train, like how you say you look like you've trained, you look like you've done this or whatever, like with Brandon, the more you train, the more you reassure yourself that you're not playing against that guy. You're just doing what you do.
You know what? It's almost like I'm pretty sure like Kobe and like Jordan would say these things. Like, you know, they would practice so much or play so hard in practice that like the games were easy.
The games should be easy.
And I'll tell you what, I relate so more now into the acting thing where like I put so much pressure on myself prior to something that when it comes to it, it's you realize it's not hard.
No, not at all.
And you're prepared for it. You know what I'm saying?
It's like second nature.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept. Yeah.
So here's a little gem that most people don't know. Being nervous and being excited is the same exact fucking feeling. It's the same exact thing. You get your stomach spins a little bit.
You're right.
Your momentum is racing a little bit.
Adrenaline's going.
Yeah. The only difference is if you're prepared, you're excited. If you're unprepared, you're fucking nervous. And that's it.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
No, that's really it.
That's a good point.
That's really it. So if you're nervous for a test, you didn't study.
Good point.
But if you're ready for something, the time can't pass fast enough. You want to get to it and get past it. Fucking game days at 7:00 at night when I was in school and college, man, I fucking hated those days because I wanted to get to the game so bad that the clock was moving
so slow.
Right. You know what I mean? My grandfather used to say 60 seconds can be long or short depending on what side of the bathroom door you're on.
Okay.
Right? So
makes
like,
sense, yeah.
You know, 60 seconds ain't shit if you're in there combing your hair, but if you got a shit and somebody's you know, it's like the longest time in the world. So back to this story, right? To give you an idea of my mentality when I played. I think I had just I was close to the end of my career. I was like 28 or 29. Good.
Keep going.
Yeah. I was like 28 or 29, and I think by this time I was playing in these bullshit ABA semi-pro leagues because I was tired of traveling. Right.
Yeah.
And so now I have a lot more time to play recreational leagues with friends. Right. And at this point, I've learned how to play with friends better where winning and losing isn't everything. I just wanted to play and have a good time. And if some unfortunate fellow on the other team felt like it was necessary to talk crazy or talk shit, then yeah, I take the ball 10 times in a row and over dribble, shoot, you know, whatever else, you know, make it a point to let you know who I am.
Yeah.
So we're playing this game and we're down 1 point, right? And we call a timeout. And it's our ball. It's like 7-8 seconds left. And I'm going off. I'm talking so much shit to the other team. I'm not even paying attention to the timeout. I'm like, you know, like, y'all fucked up. We got the ball. There's 7 seconds left. Y'all only winning by 1. You just lost.
Yeah.
You know, going crazy. And then finally I make time for the timeout. I look at Diego and I say, give me the ball. You know, dribble the ball up. Give me the ball. Cool. We come out of the timeout. Diego dribbles the ball up. He looks at me. Looks away, passes the ball to a different teammate. That teammate makes the shot. We win, right?
Yeah, I'm going to guess you're still fuming.
I begin to curse Diego out. I say, don't you ever, you know, get a ball to somebody else. I said, that was my shot. And he's like, but we won. I was like, yeah, but we didn't win the way we were supposed to win. You know,
I got you.
That was my shot, you know? And my other buddy who made the shot, he's staring at me, looking at me. I said, bro, I made no sense. I said, nothing personal towards you, but you're not supposed to win the game. You know.
I mean, at least you didn't stay on the bench like fucking Pippen did.
No,
you know,
yeah, no,
Pippen stays on the bench.
Well,
Tony
he thought
still
he was getting the ball. That's
I thought I was getting the ball.
Yeah.
Man.
So you know, it literally took 10 minutes for me to apologize. You know, like I'm like Norman was on our team, and Norman's just staring, like Norman's just like lost and shit, like right. And
that's another athlete.
A freakish athlete.
Yeah, Norman was a freakish athlete, man.
Yeah.
Like ridiculously freakish athlete.
Yeah. Good guy too.
Yeah.
Good guy too.
I haven't seen him in years, man. I think I ran into him once, like 5 years ago. I haven't seen him, but he kind of tends to disappear all the time.
Yeah, he's always doing something else.
Yeah.
Fucking motorcycle guy, fucking DJ.
He can't make up his mind. He can't make up his mind.
Yeah. I mean, and then he gets good at this shit and then quits.
Yeah, it's weird. Like he just can't settle on one thing. He constantly has to like do something else.
I got a fucking tattoo on my body that Norman did.
Me too.
Yeah.
Right here. One of his first ones. So you played professionally, right?
Yes, 8 years.
Let's go through that process. So how did that process start? So you were in college and then went pro, or how did that work for you?
So as soon as college was over, I got invited to my first ever training camp, right? Which was incredible. They offered to pay me for training camp, right? And I was like, shit.
Cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah, right? So I go, I do that. I make my first team. Coincidentally, Tim Hardaway was on that team.
Okay.
For like 3-4 games, right?
Okay.
Like some home games to raise money. Play, have a good season. The next season, they pick up Dennis Rodman. It was during the time where he was playing everywhere. He was going around making $30,000 a game just to sell tickets, right? Yeah. Showing up high out of his fucking mind, catching the ball in the post like Jackie Moon and shit, throwing it back out. It's like, you do it, whatever the fuck. So what's funny is I played with him, and then I seen him again 10 years later in O'Hare Airport, and I'm like, Robin, man, what's up? And he's like, he looks at me, and I'm like, we played together, for the Jaguars. And he's like, you want like an autograph or something? And I'm like,
he's fucking toasted. Don't remember shit.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
That man's got a lack of brain cells, apparently.
That was a blur that season.
Yeah. He's like,
can you imagine how sober he had to be when he did The Last Dance?
Yeah, he's like, no, I played for Detroit and Chicago. Like, that's it.
Jaguar. I never played football.
Right? Yeah. What the fuck?
About?
Dallas. Yeah. I never played for the Mavericks. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Somebody told me last week I was a Spur too. What the fuck? Like, you were. But so that happened.
WCW legend apparently too.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Right.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Continue.
So I did that. I played down in Mexico. Some of the fucking scariest time in my life. I was playing in Mexico with False Papers.
Oof.
Yeah, I was playing like as a Mexican, Samuel Hernandez. Right.
Oh, yeah. They gave you the whole legit.
I was legit, bro.
Oh crap.
I was legit.
Okay.
The team owner, his brother was like a I don't know what they call it down in Mexico, but like how we have congressmen here.
Okay, so he was a political person.
Yeah. Okay. So he got me paperwork, he got me all of that. But I still had to keep my own paperwork in order to go back to America, obviously.
Right.
So my biggest fear was to get caught with
the same guy checking you in at the border.
Or just 2 different sets of paperwork.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the fuck. That's
that's
Jason Bourne shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's got to be a shit show if that happens, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine where would you? I guess it would depend on who catches you. If the Americans catch you, or if the Mexicans catch
me,
you.
I'm fucked. I don't even speak Spanish. Like, I'm gonna spend 10 hours before somebody walks in.
But you get chopped up in Mexico. That's the bad part too.
Not by the government.
You have no idea.
So that was the other thing, right?
The cartels over there run the government, bro.
We had 12 players, 3 coaches. One coach spoke broken English. And I had 2 teammates that spoke. One spoke great English. The other one spoke broken English. So I had 3 people to talk to, right? And none of which was the head coach. Like, the motherfucker didn't know English. I made a shot one time to win the game. The motherfucker looked at me talking about some yes. I'm like, yeah, just like you said. So, but I remember the assistant coach broke it down to me, and like, I'm a hear what you didn't say kind of person. So in my opinion, if you know something, it's because you've seen the situation play out before, right? Like, one of my hobbies at one point was to learn laws of everywhere I went, like, I think the internet had just started happening, so I could Google things. I was having a fucking great time, right? Like, say, for example, here in Illinois, it's illegal to go to take a date on a hunting trip. So
it's illegal to take a date
on a hunting trip. Right. Now, what classifies as a date, I don't know. But in my brain, I'm like, yeah, some ranger had to explain why some people got fucking ate by a bear while they were fucking or something like that. And, and he's probably just like, you know what? No more fucking dates. If you see somebody kissing, give them a fucking citation.
Yeah.
Or like, I forget what town it is, man. I forget. It's one of these country hick ass places. One of the laws is that it is illegal to have sex with livestock, and then it says, even if it is your livestock. So that means
they had to be specific.
That means Bill was in court like, but it's mine. You know? And it was like, all right,
I raised her.
Right, like you can go this time, but you know what? Next time, motherfucker. Right. So with all of that being said, the assistant coach looks at me and he says, hey, you know, and I don't want to be like fucking racist and use it, like imitate his voice, but you know, he's like, hey, you know, don't go out alone. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they'll take you. I was like they'll come, like they'll pick me up in the car and take me where I need to go. He's like, no. He's like, people will take you, they'll steal you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying to me, man? Like, and he's like, well, you know, and at the time I'm making like 10, 11 grand a month to play basketball over 5 or 6 months, which is great to play basketball, but it's peanuts in the pro world.
Sure.
You know, 50, 60 grand for 5, 6 months worth of basketball, come back home, get a part-time, you know, just so that you're not dipping into your money and train, right? You know, at the time, I guess most people made 40 grand a year working the whole year, and I'm making 50 or 60 in the 6 months and then chilling, right? So he tells me, he's like, yeah, they just assume you have much more money. And then that dawns on me, like, these motherfuckers will pick me up, take me, ask me to have somebody wiring them maybe 200-300 grand. And then when I say I don't have it, what happens next?
Well,
they don't just drop me back off at home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, what happens next? And I'm just like, man, fuck. It's the craziest thing. And the next 2 years of my life, I became like a fucking super Christian because I had like a Bible in a hotel room. And as soon as I got back to the States, I'm like, yeah, no, fuck this. Nah, get some pussy.
Man, Mexico's one of those places that I've seen videos of. It's just like it's crazy down there.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, like the drugs and the cartels and all that shit and all that. Like
the drugs are so good.
Yeah.
No, I could imagine. I mean, I could totally picture it, but I'm just like, do you really want to take the risk of like getting involved in anything down there? I mean, like literally, I've seen videos of cartels hacking people up with machetes and leaving nothing but torsos wobbling around, you know, like a Resident Evil type flick. Yeah. It's disturbing.
So you're a competitor, right? So one of them guys tells you to take a dive. I'm pretty sure you're still taking that dive, though.
I took him twice.
Oh, well, there you go.
I got paid to lose twice in Mexico. Fuck it, it's over now, right?
I mean,
you did for real?
I
assume
either that or getting chopped up. I'm pretty sure.
I don't even know. I didn't even think about it that way. I didn't think about it. Who was asking me? One of the guys was the guy that got me all my paperwork. The coach's brother. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, don't tell my brother, like right away, right? But yeah, he paid me my month wage to lose one game, right? And I even told him, I was like, I don't know how to lose a game, or blah, 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 whatever else. And it was 4 quarters, so he tells me, he says, foul out early in the third.
Easy enough.
Easy enough, right?
Easy enough.
I picked up 2 quick fouls in the first quarter, got sent to the bench, picked up, another, I begged to get back. I picked up my third, got sent to the bench. And I told the coach, I got this, man. I got this. Send me back in.
Quick foul.
Boom. I was aggressive as fuck.
Yeah.
Aggressive as fuck. And I'm looking at the referee like, what?
You gave your best performance, Oscar-winning performance.
Still holding the guy by the arm. Like, the fuck you mean? So, and then, third quarter comes, I foul out. Go to the locker room, open up my locker envelope. Right there in the locker.
Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy.
That's it.
You think it happens in here in the States?
Absolutely.
You think it happens often?
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
You think so? I wonder because obviously I don't think.
Bro,
I don't think,
had a referee.
Are you going to talk about
the NBA?
Talk about
say
Sacramento?
That it happened.
You're still sore about that? Are we talking about the Sacramento Kings thing? Are you still sore about that?
Because I was a Kings fan.
Talking about from like 20 years ago?
Like 20 years ago. This man thinks he thinks Chris Webber is the greatest basketball player to ever play.
Better than.
Did you see the silence? Did you see the silence he gave you? Did you see that? I saw it.
The Kings games, their team was badass for a little bit.
Their team was
it not fun to watch?
Time out.
It was Golden State back then.
2000s.
It was Golden State back then, in my opinion. That's what Golden State was back then, moving the ball around, getting a good shot.
Yeah.
That timeout was a Chris Webber reference.
There was
That's
people
funny.
telling them to call timeout.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I saw that.
He's still an idiot for calling it though.
He called an aggressive ass timeout.
Yeah,
so
he
damn near traveled.
did not know what was going on. He was not aware of the situation. He was not present.
Situation. Some star.
I'm not saying he's not good. He's a Hall of Famer, right?
Hall of Famer
For broadcasting.
Do we have a bet on that?
It took him how many years, bro? I think I won that bet just because of time.
He's the number one draft pick. Got drafted.
Rookie of the year.
Got
He had to share
over,
it with Jason Kidd, right?
Share with Jason Kidd. Got drafted over Penny.
Oh shit! Did he really? Well, Penny. Yeah. You know what? Penny's one of those weird ones, man.
That was a draft day trade. Orlando drafted Chris Webber.
That man. You know what?
Shaq and fucking this guy.
No, that wouldn't have worked. Webber and Shaq.
Why not?
No, who's gonna bring up the ball for them?
Well, Orlando worked just fine.
The point guard.
Orlando worked just fine. Anthony just got hurt, and then Shaq left.
Think Penny was one of those players that like.
Yeah,
we don't know what the hell he would have been.
Golden State had promise too. They had the young Latrell Sprewell. They just didn't win.
Latrell Sprewell's best thing was those spinners.
Sprewell.
And ball hit like a tall Sam Cassell.
God. Speaking of basketball again, so you were refereeing as well, right? So
yes. Back
to real quick for your professional career. You played how many years?
8 total.
8 years, and why'd you quit? Was it injury or anything of that nature? Or
no, I just I remember deciding I was done at halftime of a game, right? Playing, and there's this dude. I'm guarding this dude. I couldn't tell you his name no more, but he was a deep in the bench player from Michigan State, right? And he had just graduated. This had to be 2012-ish, right? And he had just graduated. He had just left, and he's playing pro ball. And again, he's third stream Division I player. And you got to understand, a third stream Division I player, as much as you think he might be good, he's really not that good, because some guys would rather go play Division II than not get in the game at all for
Division I.
For Division I,
Makes
right?
sense.
So it's not to say he's not that good, but it's not like there's other people that could replace him if they wanted to.
Sure.
Like, there's probably JUCO guys out there that are that good.
Sure.
You know? It's not like being the worst player on the NBA team. You're still a god. You're still everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you're in there and you got the money, you whatever. There's 450 people.
You're still killing everybody at your local 24-hour fitness.
Is that what this guy was doing?
That was Scalabrini. Scalabrini. Everybody busts on Scalabrini. He's going around just
Did you hear what he
ass.
said about his LeBron quote?
What'd he say?
It describes it 100%. He says, "I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me."
Good point. I mean, I'm guilty of probably making fun of Scalabrini too, but I'm just like,
yeah, but that's what he said.
I mean, the dude, you have to realize I'm
closer to the greatest player, of our times, than you are to me being the worst player in the NBA.
Correct. There's levels to shit.
Didn't Apocalypse say something like that? I am as far beyond mutants as mutants are beyond mutants.
Some shit. Yeah, he said he did this in the X-Men show. There's levels to shit. There's a lot of levels to shit. If you make the NBA or you make a Division I college team, you are a really good player.
I just told a guy today, I said every pro athlete is better at their sport than you are at anything in your life.
Correct.
They're better at their sport than you are raising your fucking child.
Correct. I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, they're let's take basketball, for example. There's 500,000 high school basketball players in the United States.
Okay.
Less than 5,000 Division I players. That means 0.9% make it. Less than one whole human make it to Division I.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Out of that less than 5,000, 450 are in the NBA. That is 0.0.
And this is why we go back to this concept when we were talking about baseball.
And we talk about baseball for every sport.
And baseball to me, I feel like is worse. Baseball's probably a less of a chance because it's such a super worldwide sport. Basketball's worldwide, but it's not. It's like, especially when it comes to the NBA, it's majority focused here in the States versus as baseball is completely open.
Asian countries.
Yes, you have
South
every
American
country competing against. So like we have friends that have kids that are really good baseball players, and again we start to realize like they invest so much time and so much money, and again their kids are good baseball players, but if you're in your late teens, which I'm assuming one of them is pretty close to his late teens, the other one's in his mid to upper teens, you should be already getting looked at
on that path.
Yeah, and if no one's looking at you and you're just in these traveling teams and all this stuff, which I'm not saying is a bad thing to do, you should do it. But if your goal is to make the major leagues, I think you're already kind of past that.
You know, it's already rare enough to make it. It's even rarer that somebody that's like, you hear the stories all the time. Oh, D'Angelo Russell wasn't even top 100 in high school. Good fucking story. About 10 million people later, we'll have another one. Yeah, it's not your son,
right? I think there's don't get me wrong.
Could be your son, but what the fuck?
I think there is what do they call it? Like someone like there's unique people that make it that way. Like you could say, okay, someone that wasn't high in high school, high rank in high school, and make it to the NBA. Of course, those are anomalies, right? Yeah. But just because it happens once doesn't mean that that's the rule. For the most part, right? The majority of baseball players, like if you look at the Little League World Series when you watch it on TV, those are little kids, right? And if you look back in history, you look at big names that played in those games. Yeah. Big names, Chipper Jones, whoever, they were in those games.
Well, with basketball, these guys that come out, they've been playing AAU against each other since 12 years old. Yeah. They know each other. They meet up 2 and 3 times a year in Florida and wherever else for the AAU tournaments. Shake hands, laugh, joke. This kid I used to train, Marquise Walker, his AAU team from his freshman year, like 6 of those dudes are in the NBA now, right? They've been knowing each other forever.
I've always felt like there's to be in that elite crowd of like the NBA. When we talk about like the cream of the crop, which would be the NBA, which is the pinnacle, right?
It's like a fraternity.
That's what everyone works for, right? I'm assuming for the most part. If you play a sport, same thing for acting. Like for me, which I have a big argument with people about, is my pinnacle is not to be an indie film. Yeah. My goal is to be in fucking Hollywood.
You're so petty.
Well, no. You shoot for the stars.
That's where you want to go.
And now, like for example, I understand
you're a realist. You're realistic about where you're at.
Oh, for
right.
Sure.
But the goal is always the same. Like the goal for me is like for a basketball player would be to win an NBA championship. That's the goal.
My sophomore year, I understood. Okay, Sam, you're not going to the NBA.
Sure.
But I said, okay, shoot for the stars, land in the clouds. I want to get paid to play.
Sure.
I'll take that.
Understood.
I'll take that. But if I was good enough to be in the NBA and I only made it overseas, then I'm a fucking failure.
Sure. But do you ever stop training and working to get to that type of NBA level?
Well, no. See, you go for what's right in front of you.
Correct.
You go for what's right in front of you until the NBA is what's right in front of you.
Right. But what I'm saying is that's
you can't
always
train for the NBA while you're in fucking junior college. You can't keep telling people these dreams. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to people I train, most of the conversations are with the parents. I look for key phrases. Coach is hating on my son, and immediately I'm like, I don't want to be a part of you, your family, nobody, because the one thing every coach has in common is he wants to fucking win. You know what I mean? Right. Coach has his favorites. Yeah. Typically, his favorites are the ones that are going to win the fucking game. Yeah, of course he has his fucking favorites. Right? I told one coach one time, I said, one.
So we have favorite kids, right, John? The one that you think is going to be the most successful.
Yeah.
Me? No.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. No. It's more of a joke.
I told a parent one time. He said, "Man, he be hating on my son, this and this and that." And I guess my look kind of made him question. He's like, "You don't think coaches do that?" And I was like, look, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Racist coaches played black players during segregation to win championships.
That's true.
Now, so the hate that this man has for your son has to be fucking unbelievable.
Did your son kill his mom?
Right, yeah.
Or something?
Right. Have you ever seen fucking Glory Road? Like people put their life on the line to win championships, But yeah, so, and that's what it's about. It's about chipping away, man. If you're the sixth man, you need to learn how to crack the starting lineup. If your son is not the best player or possibly the second best player or third best player on a super powerhouse team, you need to stop spending this money. You need to let the kid have fun, right? If you're the third best player on Simeon's basketball team, you're probably going to be a Division I player and you could probably become a pro one day and the investment is going to come back. If you're the third best player on Calvin Park, have fun. Have fun. And when high school is over, go to Wright College, get on the team, play a little more college ball, And if you develop late, maybe you get a Division II offer, but stop going to gyms telling people you're the fucking best thing to ever walk, telling people that you're going to go to the NBA. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Like, and if you respect the game, why are you diminishing or belittling what the other people have to do to get there?
Correct.
You know what I mean? And that's in every sport. Like for example, you with your acting shit, you know, I have no idea what goes into that. Like as far as how much time you spend reading scripts and whatever else, and how much time you spend hustling, calling people, and trying to get here and trying to get there. I have no idea, but I do know that if it's an elite amount of people that get to do it, I know that your mental effort has to be just as good as my mental effort was for basketball.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's a respect that people need to have.
It's competitive, right? It's all competitive because like you have to have a drive to want to get there. You know, it doesn't just manifest on its fucking own.
If you tell me you're the number one player in the state at playing marbles, I'm gonna be like, shit, that's fucking awesome. Until you're like, yeah, there's only 10 of us, and I'm like, oh, that's bullshit. You know? But yeah, you know, people don't have that kind of respect for that, which is I always give people advice when it comes to sports, mainly basketball. And I always say this: I say, you can't talk sports with just anybody. You will give yourself a headache. You will. I just told a guy a couple of weeks ago that LeBron James's biggest accomplishment is turning grown men into trolls. Turning, you know, whatever your opinion is. Yeah. I have friends that watch and wait for mistakes so they can get online.
Yeah, that's petty.
You're men.
I mean, I will say again, like I agree with you.
And it's
like,
not just LeBron. Though.
You have to know to have conversations about sports, right? You got to know about sports, but you got to know about like the history of the sport as well. Because I think nowadays you can't argue with kids because they don't bother to look back. You know,
there's not a human being in the world that's under 30 years old, and I'm being lenient with that.
Under, yeah.
That should be having a LeBron James Michael Jordan debate. You didn't see Jordan play. And you did not go back and watch any film. You're lying. You didn't see it. You just didn't see it. You're going off of popular rumor and whatever else. And mind you, I do believe Jordan better than LeBron.
Of course.
You know,
that's kind of like not even an argument I like to have anymore because Jordan played. But
it's the same reason we don't say like Dr. J was the best or Wilt Chamberlain or fucking. We didn't see him.
Or you don't compare Barry Bonds to Babe Ruth. It's a whole fucking different thing. The only thing we know about Babe Ruth is what they told us.
Correct.
He ate a lot of hot dogs before.
But we do recognize and still label him as one of the greatest.
Yeah.
But we understand that again, like everything has changed over time, right? Baseball has changed over time. Pitching is different than it was back then. People have faster, velocities in their pitches. There's more pitches that were created between Babe Ruth's time and now.
The belief that sports have not evolved is ridiculous during an argument.
Of course, it has changed.
There's 20 people in the NBA right now that if you put them in 1984, they are Michael Jordan.
Correct. Athletically, I agree with you 100%. Because think about it this way.
You put Giannis Antetokounmpo in 1984 and people lose their shit.
Yeah. He would be the greatest basketball player to ever play.
The greatest athlete of all time.
And now the other side of that coin is if Michael Jordan is born in 1982 with his mentality and his ability, what kind of player is he in today's world?
Right. And that's what I don't think
training with this
dude,
correct.
That's the one thing I think kids don't understand is that Michael Jordan dominated in an era where in the beginning of his career, he spent 90% of his drives to the basket on the fucking floor.
It was more like
rugby. Like he's literally on the fucking floor getting beat up, right?
Yeah.
And he dominated in that time. Okay?
Correct.
Imagine him now. Where when you have to give a player space to you can't touch anybody now, right? So Jordan would have averaged like at least 20 attempts from the free throw line right now.
Or vice versa. Imagine LeBron James only knowing how to play hard and tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The guy is bigger than Bill Laimbeer and as good as Michael Jordan. You'd have had a lot of fucking trouble.
Yeah.
You hit him and it's not like
agreed.
In today's world you hit him and he snitches because that's what you
mentality
should do
right now.
That's what you should do.
Right.
That's what they award.
Yeah. But in 1982 you'd have hit him and he'd have been able to hit you on the other end. And he's stronger than you.
See, I always argue with people like, what LeBron would have been able to.
He wouldn't have this mentality as to, well, I don't want to get fined. Fucking Robert Parrish.
Fucking be a train.
Robert Parrish punched Lambeer in the eye and didn't get ejected.
And all he got was a basic foul.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I think LeBron would have, if LeBron was able to adapt to the game back then, which I'm assuming every human would have adapted at the time, because that's everybody gets accustomed to what their surroundings are, right? So if the surrounding was physicality, I think LeBron would have got accustomed to it. He would have been great at it too.
Yeah.
But we have to. My thing with the argument between Jordan and LeBron is that Jordan changed the game, and this is why I think I argued this not too long ago with somebody where like LeBron changed the game, and I was like, how? Because I don't see anyone saying they want to be like LeBron, and I know that's superficial, right? Like people imitate players or whatever, but I think that speaks a little bit, because those are players that have changed the game. Like Jordan changed the game. Everybody was jumping, trying to jump from the free throw line, trying to be athletic. This type, fucking Steph Curry's changed the game because everybody started shooting threes. Even James Harden to an extent, because now everybody does that shuffle step back thing or whatever. LeBron, as great as he is, no one does anything that LeBron does, because LeBron is not really, to me.
You can't fucking imitate.
I think LeBron.
No.
I don't.
You got to be
6'8",
240.
Here's the thing. I don't think LeBron is amazingly special in this, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. He's an average or above average shooter. He's an average to an above average rebounder. He's an average to above average defender. He's just really good at everything. Yeah. But if you grab Steph Curry and you give Steph Curry LeBron's size, that's ridiculous. Because imagine Steph Curry at 6'9",
but that goes
260 pounds.
That goes to our other point. If Steph Curry was that big, he probably wouldn't be that great of a shooter.
But I'm saying
he'd be constantly doing other shit.
But I'm saying just leaving their skills intact. Yeah. So let's say he's the same shooter, but he's LeBron's size. He would be one of the greatest basketball players of all time, because how would you stop that?
Well, he already is.
Now give LeBron.
Or you could just say give LeBron Steph Curry's jump shot.
But no. Let's take LeBron's skills.
Trouble too.
Leave the skills the same and make LeBron how tall is Steph Curry? 6'2", 6'3"?
That sounds about right.
LeBron would be the average basketball player. You get what I'm saying? Leaving their skills intact, just switching their sizes. Yeah. LeBron would be your average basketball player at 6'2". Because what I think helps him the most is that he's athletic. He's athletic and his size. It's like Zion too. Zion's just a monster.
Yeah.
But what else can he do?
Talk about a disappointment and size.
Besides the fact that he can't stay on the court.
A bust.
I'm
calling it right now.
He's already a bust.
He's gonna bust. He's got too much weight on the knees right now, man. Yeah. He jumps ridiculous.
Well, the reason is
he don't got trainers.
No, he fucking cheated. The guy's like 40 years old. That wasn't a fucking 16-year-old when he was dunking that ball. Man, get the fuck out of here. But yeah, so, I mean, but I mean that goes with everything. What kind of records do Joe Montana and John Elway break if you can't hit them? I watch a football game now, and it's so illegal. These guys have to play it after being rattled.
John, can you do me a favor? Hit manual on my camera for me, please. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they had to like a late hit was like expected in football in like the 80s and 90s. That was part of the game. Like I got to hit them.
Right. That was the fun of it. That was the competition about it. And people were I think back then it was just a thing where like it was welcome, because like you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. It was like this competition thing. Yeah. Like nowadays it's gone, man.
Well, we also didn't know what we were doing to each other as human beings.
We didn't know about concussions.
Yeah,
and all
knocking parts of your brains loose.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Look at wrestling back then. You would get hit with chairs and shit and all this bullshit. Now we actually
blood
care about
every
that.
match.
Yeah, that's how it was, and it was fun for us to watch as spectators, but it wasn't good for them
Ric
at all.
Flair, fucking hair goes from white to red every fucking wrestling match.
Oh my God!
Not too bad.
Ric Flair used to get hit, climb over the turnbuckle, run on the side, and then fall down.
He would just do that.
He was a showman.
Boom! Just throw himself on the floor or whatever. Dude, he was crazy, bro. He was crazy.
About once a year, he got his ass whooped by Sting.
Oh God. Let's talk about refereeing real quick, because I do have a question I want to give you. What made you? You started refereeing. I mean, I remember you refereed a lot of games for me.
So I started refereeing while I was still playing, because it was just a way to make a little bit of money. Right. Sure. And then, like anything else, I began getting competitive, because I would get matched up with other referees, and they were better at the job than me, simply because they had been around a long time. Guys like Dre, You know, smooth ass
Yep.
Andre.
Mhm.
I just seen him today. Smoothest motherfucker in the world. Alfonso McKinney is his grandson.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got a little more competitive. I went from doing Park District to getting IHSA certified. After IHSA, I did some junior college games, and then I actually did 3 or 4 low-level pro ABA games, and then I realized working my ass off to get better at this, and I make just as much money in the Park District. I'll go do 4 games at $40 a hit, $160 for a 4-hour day. Do that 3 times a week. I'm straight, you know.
Fucking lick right there.
Yeah. All to just, tell grown motherfuckers that they traveled. So
Shut up. I got called for travel today once. It's been a while. I used to travel a
This guy must
lot.
have made you earn your fucking paycheck with the way he travels.
You know what I was very successful at, and he can attest to this even if he's never thought about it, with knowing almost everybody in the city, I was never really accused of cheating.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, because I legitly looked like I didn't give a fuck. Like, hey, man, I don't give a fuck
Listen,
who wins this game.
John, okay. If you want to go back in time and you want to say I traveled a lot back then, yes.
Carried.
Now,
Carried.
that's even, but that
Yeah.
conversation is kind of isn't so necessarily black and white either, because the carry can be described differently depending on who's watching the game.
Now you can carry it like a fucking football.
That's what I'm saying.
So now as a trainer, I'm actually able to, some of my older friends, they asked me, they were like, man, what do you think was wrong with my game back then? Because back then I didn't have like that kind of an eye. I had a different kind of eye. You watch the game in different ways. A coach, an official, a player, and a fan, none of them watch the game the same way.
Sure.
None of them watch the game the same way. One of my favorite things to do in sports as a spectator is to watch football, because I like it enough to be excited by it, but I don't know enough about it to ruin my day with fucking opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying it. Being from New Orleans, I love the Saints, right? Especially we had nice solid run with Drew Brees and, the Who Dat years. And then just recently before he retired, it looked like we was going to win another one. So I enjoyed that. I met Gronkowski in person one time. So because of that, I've always, like, that was a reason to be a fan. Like, I like this motherfucker. And he's actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
So New England and now the Buccaneers, I watch them, but I could care less if they win or lose. I actually just want to see a game that stays 2 scores away, if not 1 score away. And I want to see it come down to that legendary, the better quarterback has the ball and there's 2 minutes left. That's like the best moment in football for me. You get
that nice long drive.
This motherfucker starts playing. You start saying to yourself, if you'd have played this way the whole game, you'd have 100 points.
Right.
So with that's one of my favorite things to do, right? So, but to the point I was saying about basketball, I'm able to look at people play now, and I'm able to look back at what my friends did, and I'm able to analyze what was wrong with their game, and I can tell you exactly what was wrong with your game.
Everything.
No, what was wrong? what was wrong with your game is that your best quality was that you were athletic, right?
Right.
So in your brain, you just needed to get to the basket so you can perform. Your dribbling skills and your feet wasn't as up to par as your athleticism. So you would move quickly without putting the ball on the floor, or your body would move forward and you didn't have to drag the ball with you, right? So as your trainer, what I would have you do is multiple drills, dribbling the ball in front of you, right? Pushing the ball up court with the ball in front of you. I'd have you do footwork so that every time you're 6 feet away from the basket, it takes you 2 to 3 steps to get there. Not, the Flintstone feet where you get yourself started.
You're shuffling or whatever, trying to find your stepping.
Yeah, I teach you how to take a hard left step, spin with your right, put your left down, score. Repetition of that and that and that and that. Like how you say, like somebody like Brandon, they look like they work on that.
Right.
As opposed to getting in front of you and wondering what they're going to do with the ball, Brandon puts the ball through his legs hard. If you don't
it's
shift,
routine. It's routine.
If you don't shift, he'll go to the left. If you do shift, he'll put it back the other way and go that way. Right. He's not getting in front of you guessing. So,
it's like he knows a counter to a counter to a counter move kind of thing.
Yeah,
he knows how to react to certain things.
In training, we call that stacking.
Okay.
Right. You catch the ball, you're ready to shoot. Nobody does nothing. Fucking shoot the ball. Guy picks up his hand, shows you his right hand and his right leg. Typically, you want to beat that left because he has to turn to guard you then. Uh-huh. You don't want to beat him to the way where he just has to slide.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you beat him, you then decide if you're going to beat him hard to the basket based on if he 360s, you beat him all the way to the basket. If he opens up and backs up and guards the paint, you pound the ball, you shoot a jump shot. You drill this into these guys' heads till it's muscle memory, right? You show your homie how to curl, how to bench press, and then 2 weeks later, you're not critiquing his form no more. You're just working out.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with a basketball player or any other athlete. You teach them the standard ways to do it on the standard level, and then you see if they're good enough, right? So with me, like tomorrow is my first day with Damaris Franklin. Damaris Franklin is the best player at UIC right now, right? Leading them in rebounds, points, and steals, right? His dad calls me up and he's like, man, I need you to show my son how to be a professional, because that's what's next for him. He's a senior. He's the best player. So basically, I need to show him how to score the ball and be effective within the fraternity, and this is how they do it. Okay. No one's going to watch you take more than 2 or 3 dribbles when we can all play. No one's going to isolate for you when we can all play. That's why it took JJ Redick 6 or 7 years to find out how to play in the NBA. Because at Duke, everyone's setting screens for you. The whole court is working so that you can get open, and then you get drafted and you go to where was he at, Orlando, and you're playing with a whole bunch of guys that want better contracts, more playing time, no chance at winning a championship. They don't give a fuck about setting a screen for you to get you open. You know, hey, white boy, if you can't get your own shot, fuck you. Yeah. Now, had he got drafted to Phoenix and played with Steve Nash and had to play the role of Eddie House, he'd have got paid a lot sooner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, if Klay Thompson wouldn't have grew up in the Golden State era where they were like, you know what, we're just going to shoot the leather off this motherfucker. If he was forced to be like a Sacramento King where he had to also, like, it mattered if you rebound, bro. Right. And, you know, you have to defend, motherfucker, not you know, sort of defend, which he's a great defender. But, like,
or if you would have played on a team that wasn't as good. So, like, if you would have put him in, let's say, in Chicago, for example, where he's the star, how good would he have fared?
If Michael Jordan gets drafted number 1, do we still have the Michael Jordan legacy? If he doesn't go directly to the Bulls and they later acquire Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson gets the job, do we have the same legacy? Or do we have a Dominique Wilkins?
I think you still have the same player. I think Jordan would have developed. Here's interesting. I think Jordan would have developed. The question to me would be, would he be such an international star? Because I think him being in Chicago
and I think exactly
helped out a lot. Like, his whole story helped him sell it.
Houston or Portland, right?
He'd have been Portland. He'd have been fucking Clyde Drexler over there with Terry.
Yeah, because Clyde got drafted first. No, wait. He was already there.
No,
he was already there.
Who was number 1 pick that year?
Sam Bowie. No, Sam Bowie went to Portland before
Olajuwon.
Olajuwon to Houston. Sam Bowie to Portland.
And Jordan.
Jordan was Chicago.
So
I don't know. That would have been...
I think, again, I think he would have developed to still be Michael Jordan. I just don't know if his legacy would have been the same.
You don't have the 6-0 championships without everything that was in Chicago.
But that's one of those.
That's like the most complete thing I've seen next to that is the way Golden State all came together.
Yeah.
Right. That's crazy.
You don't know if you have a coach like Doug Collins telling him, just fucking
everything kind of felt. Everything had to happen the same way.
And you get rid of Doug and you get a winner.
It's almost like when people say, "Would the Bulls have won in 2000 and 2001 when the Lakers won?" Well, I mean, it's hard to say because Phil was on the Lakers. So, you know, it's hard to even fathom that because how would you have Phil on the Bulls and have Phil on the Lakers at the same time? You can't, right? Yeah. So it's like everything kind of had to fall the right way.
Took the other motherfucker with him. The Bulls being who they were and Michael Jordan being who they were is deep as fuck. What's the other guy named Tex Winter? That's
the guy who came up with the whole triangle thing.
How many other basketball teams do we talk that deep into the coaching staff?
Not many.
Yeah, like oh man, they won because not only because of this, but think about
there was a lot of moving pieces in the Bulls. I mean, a lot. I mean, if you don't have Tex, then you don't have the triangle. You don't know what the hell could have happened because that's what made them all stand out.
And then they legitly
it worked because the Lakers did the same shit because Tex Winters went to the Lakers, so the technique worked. It's ironic nobody does it anymore. Right? I think Steve kind of does something like it. Sometimes on occasion he runs kind of a triangle.
But the NBA caught up.
That too.
But you know, like you gotta put all of these things into perspective, you know. So I don't know.
I don't know. To me, Jordan again is going to forever be the greatest player to ever play. And to me, the closest thing that ever came to being Michael Jordan was Kobe Bryant. That was the closest thing. I don't think we're ever going to see anything else remotely like that style. But everything is generational too, because you know nobody plays like Wilt or Kareem.
No, for the
Nobody
next
plays.
decade, you're gonna have people jacking
Nobody plays
up
like that.
threes, and that might be the way it is for like the rest of the.
So Kobe was the last. To me, Kobe was the last. What was left of that era of basketball.
I'll have a talk with a person about basketball as long as Kobe, Jordan obviously, Kobe, Jordan, and LeBron is in their top 5. If they're in your top 5, we could talk.
Of course,
I'll talk
absolutely.
A little bit with you.
I don't. Like,
you got to say some off the wall shit later for me.
See,
to
I feel like
throw
Chris Webber in there. Hell no.
Please.
Hell no.
Please.
Chris Webber's like top maybe 50.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Who would be the other person in your 5?
You got 2 more you could put.
Could it be?
No, he's only got 1.
So you got LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan, and he's got
He
Webber.
got 1.
So in about 5 years, it's gonna be Steph Curry.
Today.
Fuck, I don't know.
You can put a current player there if you want to.
Sure, I mean,
You can put a couple. LeBron's a current player.
Oh,
sort of.
Steph or fuck, that shit's hard. Because it's hard to separate past people with.
So I'm gonna give you something that I do when I listen to people. Right? Remember earlier I said I love to hear what people don't say. If you're gonna throw Chris Webber in the top 5 basketball, which is just an outrageous fucking statement. But if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, and the other person isn't like Shaquille O'Neal because you favor sinners, maybe I'll give you that. Then I can't listen to this shit. You can't say Chris Webber and Stephen Curry.
Tim Duncan in there.
Okay.
Because then it just speaks
they
to
play
the kind of
similar.
player you like.
They like
you know?
similar players.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing now.
It's like Chris Webber and 4 guards. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, you don't even like big men at all. Why the hell you just have a hard on for fucking Chris Webber? Like seriously.
Right.
I mean, you're like the only person I ever knew that had Chris Webber's jersey.
Yeah, like
when the Lakers cheated and
was he even better than Vlade Divac?
Fuck what?
You know, for a long time this
like
man
4 points better. Man.
You know, for a long time this man was telling me that he had the same numbers as like Tim Duncan and freaking Kevin Garnett and all these
making that shit up.
That's bullshit.
Dude, and then we saw
close. I said it's close.
No, you were like they have the same numbers, and then I printed
if
everything
Dennis
out, and he was like,
Rodman
"What?"
Made it to the Hall of Fame. Chris Webber has to, because he averaged nothing points wise.
Championships matter though, even if you're not directly the one that earned them.
Mind you, but
5 of them.
But Dennis Rodman impacted the game. But Dennis Rodman,
we all know he would have won.
It's also impact. It's also impact in the legacy you leave. Dennis Rodman forever.
He left a great legacy.
Who?
Chris Webber?
But you're gonna tell me he had the same press, the same popularity, the same power as that? I mean, what do you mean that doesn't matter?
Power. What are you talking about?
Popularity in the sport.
First
man.
you get the money,
popular?
then you get the power.
Yeah, you get the power. Listen. Dennis Rodman was a great defender.
2-time defensive player of the year.
Was a great rebounder.
The best.
Was
maybe.
an amazing athlete. Right. He won 2 with Detroit. Right? Or 1 with Detroit. 2 with Detroit. He won 3 with Chicago.
He won Defensive Player of the Year off the bench.
Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Chris Webber's great, but nobody knows who Chris Webber is.
What wins games? Points.
It doesn't matter.
Fuck, man. Come on.
Who is
usually
Chris
the team
Webber?
with the most points wins every time.
Who is Chris Webber?
100% of the time.
Listen to my question. Who is Chris Webber?
The greatest all-around
average, but listen, is the average person when you ask them who is Chris Webber of the Sacramento Kings or Warriors, whatever you want to put him, how many people are gonna know who he is?
He's speaking to his popularity. That's what he's
going to be.
There is something about that.
He's that broadcaster guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who's annoying as fuck on the freaking thing. He's like Stacey King.
He loves everybody.
Oh man!
Did you see the way he dribbled that ball twice and put it in the basket?
Yeah, I mean, I don't take away that he's good. He was a good player. He's in the Hall of Fame, obviously for a reason. But you cannot compare him to a Dennis Rodman who has won 5 championships.
He's like barely top 5 Golden State Warrior of all time.
Great defender. Great defender. The only thing that Rodman didn't do, because I'm pretty sure he could have done it, is score a lot.
He started off scoring.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He didn't need to score.
He clocked into being
a defensive player.
It takes a lot to be a defensive player.
To give up the offense.
All the greats. Patrick Beverly was the leading scorer in Illinois in high school. And now if he makes a 3, everybody goes fucking nuts.
Right.
Tony Allen started playing defense and just forgot about offense.
Yeah. I mean, and that made him great.
Ron Artest. The Bulls drafted him to be the Messiah.
Right. And he was in Cleveland. When he was in Cleveland, he was a scorer. Yeah. He was scoring pretty. He was athletic as fuck. He was winning. He was in dunk competitions and all that type of shit.
St. John's. He was killing at St. John's.
You're telling me how great Dennis Rodman was. Was he ever the best player on his team?
On his team?
Yeah.
No.
But
he also played with legends.
He was only on great teams.
He was only on great teams.
So he played with legends. So that contributed to him winning championships.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
of course.
Of course. But
what was the legend Chris Webber was playing with?
Mike Bibby.
And he's not really a legend, is he?
Vlade Divac's a Hall of Famer.
Doug Christie.
That's because of the fucking Doug Christie. I love Doug Christie too, man. I'm not gonna bash on my guys.
Don't get me wrong. Again, listen. I'm gonna say I will forever say Chris Webber is a good basketball player, but if you're comparing him to elites at his position, he's down the line.
He's right there with him.
No, he is not.
He's like
numbers wise.
He's like a
right
Big
there
Mac.
with him.
A Big Mac is always good. You're not gonna say it's one of the best hamburgers in the city.
There you go.
He's a Big Mac.
He's like
a quarter pounder.
I mean, he would be.
I'll take a quarter pounder at any time.
You know who he would be like? He would be the equivalent of to Mark Grace for the Cubs back then. He's not a Sammy Sosa.
He's Draymond Green at best.
Yeah.
I mean, not the same game, but he's just as important as Draymond Green.
I can see that.
You replace Draymond Green with the prime Chris Webber on Golden State, they win every championship.
No, he doesn't run as good.
They did win every championship while they were all healthy.
I mean, he wouldn't run. He wouldn't move like
Draymond Green.
What do you mean? What? Draymond Green is like a big piece to that puzzle.
He's the best glue guy in the NBA in the last 10 years.
Like, dude, he is like a Joakim Noah. He's like a Joakim Noah when the Bulls were making their runs with Derrick Rose.
Chris Webber can do anything he can.
Joakim Noah became a Hall of Famer off being a glue guy.
Yeah, he was. And again, Chris Webber's not. We're not saying Chris Webber's bad. We're just saying Chris Webber's not amazingly great. He's not top 10.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer, but he's not top 10.
Top 10
in any list.
Did they put him in that top 75?
In a power forward list?
Is he in the top 75 then?
Did they put him in there?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Is he top 10 power forward
of all time?
He's in the top 10.
Okay,
right?
before we get back to refereeing, let's see if we can name 10 better power forwards. And then we'll leave Chris Webber
Tim Duncan.
Who you got? Karl Malone. Tim Duncan.
Garnett. Easy.
I wouldn't even.
Garnett's better.
Damn it! I start mixing them up between them and center. So I would say like Patrick Ewing, but Patrick Ewing's more of a center.
He's a center.
No, he's a center.
That's all you got. That's all you got.
Well, I'm trying to say the absolute non-argument ones first, and then we'll get into arguments.
I'm gonna let you name them because you know a lot more players than I do.
That's it.
No,
that's all there is.
So it depends though, man, because there's players that
Nowitzki.
Yes. But he's more of a center too, isn't he?
No, he went down as a power forward.
Went down power forward?
So that's 4 for sure.
Dennis Rodman.
That's all I get.
I got Dennis Rodman.
I got Dennis Rodman on it.
That's 5.
No, I do not agree with that at all. He didn't score anything.
Didn't matter. He did everything else.
Well,
he did everything else.
Well, Webber was in position to score all he wanted. It's not like he ever came close to leading the league in scoring.
Good point.
He had the freedom to score it at will.
Yeah. I mean, it was technically his team, right?
On everything.
But he was a great passer, too.
Yeah, no, I'm just speaking to that part, though.
He was a team guy.
I will give him that he was kind of unique at the time because passing wasn't necessarily a big thing at the time, especially for centers. Men. Exactly, especially for big guys.
For a few years in the league.
That's what made him fun.
I'd put Stoudemire over him for a few years in the league.
Oh,
for
you know
about
what?
3 or 4 years in Phoenix.
I can see it. Amari Stoudemire was a killer, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll go and say Kenyon Martin at some point too, because Kenyon Martin was killing at one point too.
I'd take a young Blake Griffin over him.
Ooh,
Blake Griffin.
Ooh,
the first 4 or 5 years.
I mean, he was just putting balls on everybody, bro.
Yeah, he was really fucking good, man.
I mean, he was playing on a pretty good team that was kind of built for it, but still.
Isn't Barkley a power forward?
Oh yeah. We
at like 8 now.
Chuck? No. There's about 4 or 5.
He's trying to rephrase the context.
But he's top 10, 100%.
Anyways, let me ask this question before we go. Before we have to start shutting this down. I get asked this a lot, and I asked you this privately one time just to clarify. So, in the local gyms when I play basketball, this tends to happen every so often, and we all stop and we argue about this if this is a travel or a double or whatever. Or you can or cannot do this. If you take a legitimate jump shot in a game, can you catch your own rebound?
Airball, you mean?
Your airball.
Absolutely, 100%. Right? So I always tell people this scenario, and I just seen a kid do this a week ago. I've been telling the people this scenario forever, and then boom, I see it. And what was funny is everybody in the crowd gets to yelling, and I'm like, this is my fucking moment. I'm like, no, I'm not blowing this fucking whistle. I've been waiting on this. So the kid shoots a 3-pointer. immediately he's the one that knows it's going to be short, right? And this was a hustle player.
So he just goes running. He runs
takes
it
off
after.
running. He hits the floor and takes off running. He fucking catches it like an alley-oop and lays it in. And everybody's like, what the fuck? You know, like coach is going crazy and this and this and that. And I'm just, so I have a good look when it comes to officiating when a call doesn't go a certain way. Two things can make you a good official, even if you're blowing the call. Quick whistle. You know, if it goes out and you're not sure who it goes out, fucking guess quick. You know what I mean? If you both look like you touched it and I think you touched it, went that way. Like, I didn't fucking touch it.
Confident call.
Yeah,
you got to establish.
You at least believe that this
establish.
is what I think I saw. Right?
Okay.
And the other one is not looking like you don't know what you did. Right? So the kid catches the ball, he scores, everybody's yelling and looking at me, and I go like this. You know, like, what the fuck? You know? Yeah. So the rule is this. If the referee deems it a legitimate shot, be it a layup, be it maybe a kid reverses, shoots it right over the rim, hustles to it, and the other team doesn't have the energy and they're just way too lazy to get to this ball, and this kid gets to the ball first, he can grab the ball.
I like it.
He can't dribble again because that's a
double.
A double or travel, because so most rules are based on.
So I was right. My understanding was that you can if you shoot an air ball, you can catch your own or get your own rebound. You just cannot dribble.
Now, if I think that ball slipped out of that kid's hand,
again,
and he runs and catches it, that is a traveling violation.
It's up to the deem of the ref if it's a legitimate shot.
It's like it's discrepancy like in football when they decide whether or not it's a forward pass or not.
Correct.
Right. That's sort of a deal. Right. So
there's a gray area that has to kind of be put upon the referee.
The human part. Yeah.
Right.
Like, so if the ball slips out of his hand and he runs to it, can't do that. Right. But he legitimately shot a ball and he hit the floor. And when he hit the floor, he looked in amazement like, oh shit, I fucked up. And he darted at the ball.
Right.
And everybody else was either busy boxing out or just doing this. And he snuck right through.
I can't picture somebody shooting a 3 and catching it before anybody else touches it.
I've done it. I've done it.
Well, because it was kids, and they had all been taught that when the shot goes up, just put your body on somebody.
Oh,
right. So the ball ends up like bouncing in front of everyone because it's short and you just run in there and get it.
Did anybody ball watch? You know, they just saw the ball and then you could see that they've been taught that. Just and this kid nobody
was taught to rebound.
Benny the Jet Garcia to the fucking ball. You know,
it's happened to me. It's happened to me on layups too, where like you go and you'll lay it up or whatever, and you like leave it stupid short.
Yes,
and it just falls because you're going in the same direction that the ball's going, so you just happen to land and the ball lands in your hand, and then they try to say it's a double. I'm like, it's a shot.
Yes,
I just can't dribble.
So
I can catch the ball.
I'll give you two more interesting things about officiating, and we can leave officiating alone. Right? This is something I actually saw in person. And the other one is one that I have not seen, similar to I had never seen the other scenario that I make up for people until last week, right? But this one I saw. Player goes to the basket. We're in Mexico. Player goes to the basket, dunks the ball. Boom. The ball hits him in the head, bounces out of the rim. The referee waited to see what people were going to do, and somebody picked the ball up and walked off with it to take it out, and he called a travel. And he later explained that that's not a basket, right? And
wait, say one more time for me.
So this is the rim.
Okay.
The guy dunked the ball.
Hit his head.
It hit his head because he had jumped so high. It hit his head and came back out. Boom, no basket.
Okay, so he dunked it. So he's underneath the rim. His hands over the rim.
He's about 4 inches under the rim.
Okay, so it went in and out.
The ball passed through the cylinder, midway through the net, hit his head, and bounced out. Right, and the referee explains to the coach afterwards that the ball must pass through the net to be a score.
The whole thing.
Right, the net, yeah. And he said because of that, and he fixed the call. He said the call is offensive goaltending. No different than poking your hand in there if you're an offensive player.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but now look, after telling the referee, the coach this, right? Almost like God wanted the coach to have some payback, right? Guy on the other team in the second half shoots the ball. The ball goes in. 3-pointer goes in. Pops a piece of the net out. Gets lodged in the net.
What do they call?
The coach goes fucking crazy.
He's trying to call offensive.
He's going crazy. He's like, that doesn't fucking count, right? Like, he's going crazy. He goes so crazy that they end up calling a tech on him because no matter what's happening right now, you're irate as shit. You know, like, he's like, explain that one to me, motherfucker. Like,
the ball never technically went through the net. It's stuck in the net.
So at that point,
failure.
Yeah. So what happened on that is that referee simply didn't cover the base by explaining the rule thoroughly. The rule of score, and that's what it's called in basketball. The rule of score is that the ball must either pass completely through the net or remain lodged in the net.
Okay, but that makes sense.
That's the rule of score,
right? Because once the ball goes through, and it doesn't, no one prevents it or pushes it back. Yeah, then it's a score.
There's freakish things that can happen in sports. Okay, like I'll give you this scenario. I've yet to see this happen, but I know the rules on it. Right. Let's say
I feel like you're waiting for it to happen.
I would absolutely love for that.
Yeah,
I would love to be doing.
It's a gem at that point.
I would love to be doing a fucking state championship game, everything on the line, and this
one of these things happens.
Yeah, I would love to be that. You hear me blowing my whistle, running the half court, like fucking Leslie Nielsen and Naked Gun and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking.
So what's the scenario? Give me a scenario.
So let's say the ball is all right. Let's say you're the coach of Team A and you're the coach of Team B, and I'm the official.
Okay.
So even in this scenario, even whatever I call, the coach that the call doesn't favor is gonna at the very least want a thorough fucking explanation.
So somebody's getting upset. Somebody's getting heated.
Oh, this is fucking. This is gonna be crazy. Somebody's gonna lose their life if it's a championship game, right? So let's say your players, you're down 2 points.
Sure.
3 seconds left on the clock. You have to go the length of the court.
Okay.
Ball is inbounded to your player. He's at the opposite free throw line, so he's a good 75 feet away from the basket.
Okay.
He shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, the buzzer goes off. If that ball goes in, what happens? This isn't the trick question part. It's just
if the ball goes in, the buzzer rang after he shot it.
He shoots the ball from 70 feet away. The buzzer goes off in the air. If that ball goes in, what happens?
You win.
You won 3 points.
Yes.
What happens if the buzzer goes off, that ball falls short, bounces on the floor, and then goes in? And no one touches it because they figure, fuck it, the buzzer just went off. That ball bounces at the other team's free throw line with enough velocity to go another 12 feet in the air.
And go out of bounds?
No, and go in the basket.
You win.
Do you?
Well, you're the other coach.
Isn't it still?
So that's exactly what you say. No fucking way that counts.
But it's still considered a shot, right?
I'm going to let you have a little fun with it for a little while.
I would say yes. I would say yes because even if I've seen people do this shit like for tricks and shit where like they're dribbling whatever. Like I think that I've seen the professor do this type of shit where he's dribbling and he'll dribble behind his back and the ball goes into the net. Does that still not count?
So he dribbles playground shit.
No, but I'm assuming it has to be a similar thing.
In the NBA, if the ball goes through the fucking rim, it counts.
It counts.
If you shoot it in the wrong basket, it counts. If it bounces off your head, it fucking counts.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But now here's the variable here is that the buzzer went off while the ball was in the air.
So the game is technically over after it hits the ground? Is that the case?
So, all right, so I'm gonna help you out a little bit, right? Let's say there's 12 seconds on the clock and your dumbass player thought that was 2 seconds. And he shoots it from there and it bounces and goes in and there's still time on the clock. Then that's a made basket. But even then, is it worth 3 points or 2 points?
That's a good question. I'm not sure because to me, I would say
by the free throw line. It landed within the 3-point line, but it was shot from 70 feet away.
I think it should be. 3? I would say it would be 3 because it shouldn't it matter on who and where the person who shot it, not where the ball like bounced or whatever.
Okay, so let's get a little more confusing. If the ball is tipped in by the wrong team in basketball, like you've seen that happen before.
Yes.
Yeah. That point.
I've had players put it in the wrong.
So who does that point has to belong to somebody? Who does it belong to on the other team?
Last person
who touched it.
It belongs to the player on the other team that is standing closest to the basket.
Okay,
that's legit.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So if me and you are down there going for the rebound and you tip it in, that's my basket.
Okay.
Right. So that kind of says that if they're going to give it to the closest player, then an accidental basket is probably worth 2 points.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So now this is what would happen. Guy shoots the ball, bounces and goes in. I'm running to the score table, super ref blowing my whistle, I'm going like this.
No basket.
No basket.
No basket whatsoever.
No basket. Adida Dora wins the fucking game. It's over with. They won. You're gonna say, What the fuck? Yeah,
It went through the basket. What the fuck? It's either a tie or I win.
Correct.
One or the other.
Yes, correct. So then here comes whether or not you're good at your job. And I will guarantee you 8 out of 10 refs in this city don't know this, right? That buzzer goes off, the game is over, except for certain situations, meaning if the ball goes in. Once that ball is no longer goaltendable, falls short of rim level, the game is over. The game is over. That's it. Because if this was a shot clock violation, at what point is it a shot clock violation? The buzzer goes off as soon as the referees realize that it's an airball.
It's a shot clock violation.
It's a shot clock violation, and they put the time back on to that point, right?
But what about when I've seen situations where the shot clock goes off and it's an air ball or short ball and the team is allowed to continue. I've seen that happen before,
that's a bad call. That's just a bad call.
So if you hear the buzzer, it should have been stopped. It should have been a stop play.
If that buzzer goes off and that ball does not touch the rim,
it should be a stop.
Yeah.
Where have you seen that?
I've seen that happen. Where like they'll catch it. They'll catch it like it's whatever, and they continue.
The referee has to think that
it's
maybe
touch the rim, right?
The referee has to think maybe he caught it as the buzzer was going off.
Maybe. Okay, I understand now. But I feel like I've seen that before. I don't see it so much anymore. But if that ball's in the air, burn, and I catch the ball, they're definitely going to stop the play.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to stop the plays for the most part.
So you're talking about if it goes under. If it goes under rim level, you would say
if it bounced off that floor,
that's it,
and I grabbed it, you wouldn't call goaltending on me.
Correct.
The shot is over. It is no longer a shot attempt. It's over once the ball falls short of the rim. It is no longer goaltendable.
Okay,
so that game
makes
is over.
sense.
So a referee that knows that, as soon as I would see the ball as an air ball, I should begin doing my no basket. Then game is over. So I should be blowing that whistle saying the game is over while that fucking ball is bouncing into the basket.
Okay, I can see that. That's a good understanding.
Again, that goes along with being sure of the call.
Now, let's just say it does happen. Let's say that same situation happens and there is time on the clock, and it bounces at the free throw line and goes in.
2 points to the closest to the player closest to the. It's just what do you call it? An accidental basket.
Okay, so it's not. Okay, I got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no different than if I shot it from 3 and it hit.
You mean in the head and bounced in there or whatever. So it's whoever's close. So if it would have bounced in behind the 3-point line and then gone in, it would have been 3 points. But since it bounced,
so if
it bounced inside the 3-point line.
To your thing about the professor, if I'm standing 5 feet behind the 3-point line and I bounce the ball right next to me behind the 3-point line and behind me, and it goes into the basket or whatever, it's still 2 points.
It's still 2 points.
It's an accidental basket.
It's an accidental. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Basket. That makes a lot of sense.
But if I jump from the 3-point line and I have the athletic ability to shoot a floater in the lane and it goes in, that's 3 points.
Okay. Now, for everyone who listen, so I just hope that this is clear now for everyone who thinks that if you catch your own air ball,
you can rebound an air ball.
You can rebound your own air ball, and you just can't dribble the ball.
You can't dribble the ball.
Can you take a shot attempt? Can you shoot it again?
Yes, the kid shot it.
Okay, so you can shoot it again. Cool.
Yeah, you can't. So
you just can't dribble anymore.
So most rules in basketball are based off of this understanding: advantage, disadvantage. You can rarely do anything in basketball that gives you an illegal advantage. So if you caught that ball and began to dribble again, that's an illegal advantage. What would stop you from pretending like, oh, I just lost the ball, I'm gonna go get it?
Yeah.
Like for example, you remember Robin used to tip the ball?
Yeah.
Like for the rebounds, tip it to himself?
Like 20 times unnecessarily, sure.
So if the referee deems that you're tipping that ball in order to gain an advantage, like
you call it traveling.
That's a travel.
Okay.
But if you're tipping it because you simply can't get a hold of it, then you're fine. You could tip that bitch all the way up the court if he thinks you can't get a hold of it. You tip it twice and he thinks that you're palming and tipping it, that's illegal.
Like if you're just tipping it by yourself, walking from out of bounds all the way down to
or if you constantly losing the ball to get closer to the basket. Which I would think you can't fucking do. Somebody has to steal the ball.
A cheater.
He's a cheater. He's out of the top 10.
Dude, listen, that's why when we were kids, I was taught a long time ago, you keep doing what you're doing until the ref sees it.
That's right.
That's what it is. Look at you hang on to every short leg, you push anybody until the referee tells you to do it. You can't do it.
My grandmother used to say, and this is my fucking grandmother, she used to say, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
That's hey, I like that mentality, man.
She fucking cheating us in dominoes at 8 years old.
All right, so we're running a little late here, but we're having a lot of fun with this. Sam, you can come back whenever you want, bro. We can talk basketball all the time. It's not, it's always a thing. I know you guys try to do a little podcast of your own with your brand.
Yeah.
If you want to promote your brand, tell us a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah. So I just started some years ago. I needed a quick little Instagram handle for the players I was training. Called it Fantastic Workout Team Fantastic. People started to like it. They just like the way the font looks or whatever and things of that nature. So I dabbled in making a few shirts for people, not nothing to try to make like a living off of. And then recently I work for Ground Zero Training. We're the agency that handles Derrick Rose and Jabari Parker when they're in town, which is probably like 3 workouts a year, if that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they have their own trainers that make whatever else. But Ground Zero Training, we've had about 30 to 40 NBA players come through our doors to work out on a regular. One of our good players now is Max Strus from Miami. But the next time I come back, I might have more news for you. I have a business meeting Tuesday with Y Lift.
Okay.
You familiar?
Kind of, a little bit. I've heard of it before.
You know Y Lift? You work out. They wear the shirts everywhere. The Y and the L combined together. They wear them at the Brickyard. They wear them at Logan. These guys are kind of like cornering the market for definitely local. They definitely have done that. Like everybody that's in these shows, they buy their gear, they whatever else. But anyway, this guy is successfully making deals with. He's actually going to sponsor 2 local high schools instead of them wearing Nike or Adidas. They're going to wear
their brand. They're going to
wear their brand, right? So I have a little meeting with him on Tuesday about moving forward with some stuff that he's doing. So because so I'm good at what I do. I'm good at training. And anybody that wants to put my training on another level, be it like same thing with the podcast. My homies wanted to have the podcast, and I was just like, okay, cool. And then as soon as they got not necessarily lazy, but as soon as life got in the way and it faded away, I'm like, okay, I don't care. I'm a trainer. I train.
Right.
If you want to document it, fine. Diego talks to me all the time about wanting to make short clips of the people I train, the pros or whatever. Yeah. I say, fine. If he doesn't come to the gym to video record, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with this guy coming up. He has some ideas and, whatever, man. Like, I'm just going to keep doing my job every day. And if
I think people tend to realize that, like, this stuff is easy.
It really is. It really is. You just have to want to do it.
Exactly. And, I think you said it. I think you said it earlier. Like, you have to find fun in stuff that you do.
Yeah.
You got to want to do it. Like,
so,
again, I think I read somewhere, like when it comes to podcasting, like, the average podcast fails within 5 or 6 episodes.
So I'm gonna tell you my personal, and then we can wrap it up. I mean, this will be my goodbye, I guess. My personal definition of success, right? Find something you want to do and figure out how to make somebody else pay you for it.
Good idea.
Perfect.
That's an amazing idea.
Perfect, ain't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I like it every day.
When you're good at something, you never do it for free.
Fucking the most successful thing I've ever seen in my life is like OnlyFans. This girl likes to touch her pussy, and now people pay for it.
She makes a shit ton of money off of it. That's crazy.
It's fucking great. That's success.
Yeah.
That is the Kardashians are fucking successful. They like to be airheads and ditzies, and they're fucking rich for it.
That's true.
Now,
and people tune in for it.
Now, you can measure the success based on money if you like. Now, me personally, I think I'm successful because I do what I want to do every day. I'm not hurting for cash. I'm not by any means rich, but I go to a restaurant, I want a fucking steak, I order a steak, whatever the fuck. But I wake up every day and I do what I want to do. Now, mind you, I have 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. days sometime, and I'm tired as all shit, but I'm doing what I want to do. I got client after client coming in, working out.
You can't beat that, man.
I travel an hour or two I travel an hour or two to watch my clients play. I get to have conversations with their parents and their coaches about how much better they're getting and how much whatever else. They include me in decisions of what they want to fucking do.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, when you find something that you like to do and you can make money off of it or whatever, it's a whole different type of thing.
And I'm a better trainer than I'm a 3 times better trainer than I was a basketball player.
Ooh,
absolutely.
I might have to challenge that one because I mean you were a hell of a basketball player.
I feel like being a basketball player was a stepping stone or something I had to go through to learn how to do this. You know what I'm saying? My calling is definitely teaching players that have way more ability naturally than I ever had and chances than I ever had to do what I learned to do. I take a guy that's 6'5" and I could teach him to be a fucking demon if he just works hard. and does whatever else. Like I said earlier, I get a dad that calls me his son is the best player on the Division I team, and he calls 5'9" Sam Mcwherter to teach his son how to go pro.
Right.
You know what I mean? I work with low-level NBA players, and I gain their trust because immediately I show them a few things that they're like, oh, shit, that looks like that could work for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Student of the game, whatever else. But yeah, I'm a far better trainer than I ever was a basketball player. And the good thing about it is there's no short window. I could do this another 20 years. Keep getting better at it.
We could podcast for the rest of our lives.
You really could. Yeah, you really fucking could.
You know?
Okay.
I mean, that, again, this is stuff that like I try to obviously athletics. I mean, it's similar, but not. It's similar in differences, and there are differences and everything. But I always felt like there's always, the competition thing. You want to be better. You want to get better. You got to love what you do. I mean, even me and him, we do this not necessarily to make money. And I mean, if we made money, it'd be great. But we do it because we have fun doing this.
Well, that's the other thing. Like I have my own definition for success. This is America, man. If the right person likes it, you'll make money.
Absolutely.
You just need one person. You need the right person to like something.
That's 100% true.
Yeah,
that's 100% true.
If somebody likes this and backs it, like the fucking movie Wayne's World or some shit like that, then you're fine.
Or you're in the right place at the right time, like the Olsen twins, but they were fucking born for Full House.
Yeah, and if 10,000 people that don't fucking matter like it, then you just got 10,000 likes.
Right.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like it doesn't. It's cool and all, but it doesn't fucking matter.
But Sam, again, I appreciate you coming by, man.
This was fun.
Definitely have you back because we can definitely talk basketball and talk, success and all that, all these stories and all that 100 times. Anything else you want to say? Any links or shout outs you want to give out before we close it out? Or where people can find you? Yeah,
anybody that's watching, just all my social media handles are Sam_fantastic. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Facebook's my actual name, but if you type that in, it'll come up. If you have a kid that's special, give me a call. If your kid isn't
I'll tell
special,
him the truth. I'll tell him the truth. He's not special.
Well, I mean, you don't even got to be special. If your kid's a high school player and you just want to play junior college, that you don't got to be special. But I mean, whatever. But yeah, man, tune into this show. This is I had a great time, man. Maybe in the future, man, you guys could do the double chair thing, and every time I come on, I could bring one of my athletes.
We could do that. I'll make that happen.
Yeah,
I can make that happen.
I got the other kid I told you about, the Khalil Average kid, the kid from Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
I train an actor to look like he plays basketball.
We can make that happen, man.
The kid from Beats. You seen the movie Beats?
I haven't seen Beats.
The Netflix thing, and he's the token black kid in Cobra Kai.
Okay, I know that. I know he's up there. Yeah. That's good, man. I've always. I mean, we obviously at some point again. Like I love to improve shit. Yeah. At some point, hopefully, we're not here anymore, and we have a little bit more of a space, and we can make this better.
He's up for a part. He's supposed to be playing LeBron's thicker teammate in high school in a movie that they're going to make soon.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if you can get in contact, but I will have anyone on this podcast. This podcast is just for opinions and helping people get better at what we do. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I had a great time, bro.
John, since you're wiping your nose there, really you got any anything you want to say?
Did I miss out on the cocaine?
No.
Dust it off, bro. Just dust it off. What you got? You got anything, buddy?
I'm gonna start training too.
You gonna start training? You train all the time. Stop your shit.
Fucking lick. Other people, man.
Oh,
other people.
You've been talking about doing that. We'll get there.
I want to.
We got dreams we're working towards.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys.
You gonna train with me? No.
I would if it's a free gym.
I'm fat there for the first time in my life. I could train with you.
I'm there, bro.
All right, cool.
As long as I don't got to go to a gym that's got a lot of people in it, I'm there.
I'm out of shape for the first time in my life.
What are we talking about? Like $40 an hour, something like that.
Sure, whatever you want.
Yeah, one hour.
Do I charge you for being on my podcast? $40 an hour? Does that even us out? All right, guys. Why do I keep muting myself? I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in. Like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, everything we said is in our opinion, and if you don't agree with it, you know what? You can piss off.